Hello, 8th graders. Your new section is for 10.3, and it's modeling data with lines. And so when we're doing this, you're still going to go ahead and make your scatter plots like we've been doing. And then you are going to draw a trend line, which we had talked a little bit about last year. I think we called it the line of best fit, the trend line, like which you should be able to see a trend when you're making your scatter plots, like which direction things are going. And we talked about that yesterday with the negative association, positive association, and the no association. And so we're just going to take it a step further and do the trend lines. So for example, here it says the table shows the age and height of a sample of girls. Use a scatter plot to predict the height of a girl who is 9 years old. Okay, well, you can't predict that girl's height until you do your scatter plot. So there is my information, and I use that information to make this scatter plot. Okay, so I have the points already done here. And then over on the right hand side, I'm going to go through the steps and I'll add a couple things to that graph. So first step, it's already done. Plot each point. Okay, I did that. Then we're going to look at that. We're going to say the plotted points go up from left to right. So that shows positive linear association, right? It's basically linear. It's not showing like a huge curve, right? We can make a line straight through that, okay? So that's step 2. So we need to draw in our trend line, okay? So step 3. Whoa, that was weird. Okay, so step 3. Draw a line with positive slope. Make sure there are about as many points above the line as there are below it. So we're going to put our little trend line in here. And so you just need to draw it as close to touching as many points as possible and being as close to as many points as possible. Okay, so I would say about right in here would be good, right? It's going through 4 of the points and it's got 2 on the right and 3 on the left. That's as close to the middle of the data as you're probably going to get. Okay, that's a trend line. I don't know why this keeps doing this. So then we'll go down here to step 4. Then we'll need to go ahead and actually answer the question that it asked us. We'll need to find 9 on the horizontal axis. And then just move up the trend line. Until we can determine the height. So here's what that means. I'm going to find 9, which is right here. And I'm just going to go straight up. It's about right there, right? And then straight over, like as best as you can do. So you can see there it's a little closer to 50 than it is to 45. So let's go back up and look at the question that it asked. It said, use a scatter plot to predict the height of a girl who is 9 years old. So I would say it'd be about 48 inches. And then for the next one, we have a totally different scatter plot here. It says the scatter plot shows the results of a survey about the relationship between the number of hours spent reading and the number of hours spent watching TV. Draw a trend line that fits the data better than the one that's shown. Okay, so here, the scatter plot is already done for you, and they already have a trend line drawn in. Okay, well, you can tell by looking at it that that doesn't really go through the middle of the data. Okay, it doesn't really have the right angle on it. There aren't as many points above it as below it, and it's not touching as many points as possible. So we're going to put in a different line that might work a little better. So remember that we want to touch as many points as possible, and we want to go through the middle of the data. So to me, it looks like right here might be a lot better, right? There you're going to touch like 3 points, and you're going to be a lot closer to the middle of the information than you were with the original line, the black one. Okay, then we have one more scatter plot to make. It says, make a scatter plot of the data below and draw a trend line. Okay, so it's the same thing we just got done doing, but we're going to add something to it now. Approximate weight of a 10-month-old puppy. So here I already have my dots plotted on the scatter plot. Okay, I already have my points in here off of this table. And so then I have my steps drawn in over here. I have part of the information there, and then I'm going to be adding some as we go here. So step 1 says, make a scatter plot and draw a trend line. Okay, I made the scatter plot. I have not drawn the trend line yet. So we need to go through the middle of the data, touching as many points as possible. So I would say that if you go kind of right along here, that's going to be as close to all the information as you can get, touching as many points as possible. Okay, so there's my trend line. So then the second part says, estimate coordinates of 2 points that are on the line. All right, so if you look at that line, can you find 2 points that are on the line? So I'd say the 2, and if you look up at the table, it's 2, 19.9, and then we need another one. We'll use, what's another one that's on the line? Looks like 7 is on the line. So 7, and if you look up at the table, you can't quite tell from the graph, it's at 62.6. It's right here. Okay, so we're going to use those 2 points to continue doing the rest of this. So it says use the 2 points to find the slope. Perfect. If you remember how to do that, which I realize it was quite a while ago, remember you do. All right, so here I filled in. So the formula that we used to find slope was y2 minus y1, x2 minus over x2 minus x1. Remember the y's go on top. So what does that mean? You just use these 2 y's. So 62.7 minus 19.9, and you put that over 7 minus 2. So you get 42.7 over 5, and that comes out to be about 8.5. I rounded it, so it didn't come out very nice. So you find your slope, then go on to step 3. It says use 1 point and the slope to estimate the y-intercept of the trend line. So now here comes the good stuff. Remember the old y equals mx plus b? That's where we're going with this. So I'm going to use 1 point. So let's just use the 2 19.9. So 19.9 is my y, so I'm going to fill it in. 19.9 equals, my slope is 8.5 times my x is 2. And then we have our plus b. So if we go through it, go ahead and solve this. 8.5 times 2 is 17. And then we still have our plus b over there. And then I'm going to subtract the 17, and this is kind of hard to show on typing, so I guess I'll just have to draw it. So I'm going to minus this, whoa. I'm going to minus 17 from both sides, so that gives me 2.9 for b. So there I found my intercept. My intercept is 2.9. So then the last part, use the slope-intercept equation, fill in the slope and the intercept. Okay? So again, we have y equals mx plus b. And so we just found our slope, right? It's 8.5. And we just found our intercept, which is 2.9, so I can plug it in. Slope and intercept. Now, it asked us a question, right? It says, what is the approximate weight of a 10-month-old puppy? Okay, you could estimate it by using that. If you want a more exact answer, you can use your equation. So if I plug in 10 for x, and then get my answer, 8.5 times 10 is 85, plus 2.9. So my answer then will be 87.9 pounds for a 10-month dog. So let's run back up here and go through the steps again. So make a scatter plot, draw a trend line. We should be super with that. Estimate the coordinates of 2 points on the line. That's why it would probably be better if you use graph paper so that you can tell where the points are better. You're going to use those 2 points to find your slope, your y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Once you find your slope, you're going to use one of the points and your slope to find the intercept. You're going to plug it in right here. Once you find your b, which is your intercept, you plug that in, slope, intercept, and then you can plug in whichever value they're asking about and get your answer. That's a lot of information, I realize. We will talk about it more when I see you next. Have a good night.